Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CloysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And welcome to the Razorback Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm your host, Jason Pattison, and I want to thank our sponsor, Cloy's Southern Eats. They have got a couple of new products that they just released this week. One of them is their Mexican blend. You should go check out all of those fine products that they have at CloysSouthernEats.com, Amazon.com, and Walmart.com, and go re-experience the magic of Cloy's Southern Eats. Come get you some. Otis, it's been an off week. Have you got a little bit of rest this week?
Yeah, I've gotten some rest and ready for football to start back up tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been quite a nice week, honestly, for myself too. I mean, it's been kind of low key, hasn't been really ratcheted up. There hasn't been a lot of news since last Sunday, and I feel like that was something that Sam and the program really kind of needed.
Yeah, it was time to get rid of Enos. Should have never been hired, but he was. But you can't wait till the end of the season, correct? A lot of people thought they should, but I couldn't see that. I mean, you after that performance, the performance against Mississippi State, I couldn't see them letting him call another game.
No, there was no way that
he gets in the eye if you did that. I mean, that was dismal. It wasn't even bad. That was beyond bad. It was dismal and just terrible. It was as bad as I've ever seen.
I feel like after, and I don't know how much this is going to translate. I don't know if it will even translate, but after the basketball game yesterday, I felt like the Razorback fandom was kind of rejuvenated again. They really needed something to be happy about again.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to transfer over into a possible with the Florida game coming this Saturday, starts at 11 a.m. It's another early game. Whenever you stink, you get early games. It's just how it is. But I don't know. I'd like to see if KJ is able to have success. Arkansas has not beat Florida since 2016, which was a home game here. They won 31-10. But the last time that they beat Florida on the road was the first meeting back in 1982, and they haven't beat him since.
Yeah. Man, they get sent to Florida a lot. I mean, 2020 and now again, and Florida came here that one time, and like you said, in 2016, I don't know how the schedule's made out like that, but it has. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a tough deal, and I don't know how much all this change will mean. We'll see. I think it's gonna. I think it's going to rejuvenate the players. I think you're going to see a pretty good effort. Will it be enough to win? I don't know. I'm not sold on Florida, but I mean they're at home. They're obviously good enough to beat Arkansas, and they may very well do it. But I think the key is go down there and have some fun, have some positive things happen, get back to Razorback Stadium and start you a 3-game winning streak here when you get back. If you don't beat Florida, I mean. Stranger things have happened than them beating Florida. I mean, Florida, I'm just not sold on them. But I mean, I tell you about Florida, they're a weird team. I mean, one time they play really well, they can beat anybody, beat Tennessee. Next time they can't beat anybody. So I'm sure Arkansas will get their best shot. I mean, that's usually the way it works. But it's not impossible for Arkansas to go down there and win. I don't think they will. I'm not predicting that, but I'm not naive to think it. All of a sudden, one thing is going to change everything. But I do think you'll see some positives. I think you'll see some more tempo offense. I think Kenny's going to let KJ be KJ, kind of the strength, take the strengths of what the offense has done, and not try to go against what the success has been. And I think you'll see a different KJ this Saturday. I really do.
That's something that I think a lot of us are anticipating too, is that he's being able to maybe run this offense a little more freer, more fluid.
Yeah.
And the tempo that he likes. That's a big difference in what he's been doing the last few weeks.
Yeah, the kids love that tempo offense. They love that. I mean, I talked to Grayson Wilson today, and they love that style of play. And he think, Guyton and Sam saw him yesterday, and he thinks that Kenny's going to let KJ run the offense he likes, and like I said, I think it's going to make a difference. Is it enough to beat Florida? Probably not, but and I don't know how the game's going to turn out. I mean, they still got to play good defense. You still got to run the ball. Your offensive line's got to play. It ain't just KJ. I mean, that whole offense has got to play better. I mean, tight ends played pretty well. Other than that, I mean, wide receivers been okay, but I mean, it's just the whole unit as a whole. It's got to play better, but they haven't played with the same energy that the defense and special teams has. And I think that was a reflection of Enos. I just don't think they believed in that offense. I think, I know as soon as everything they don't win 100-0 on Saturday and score 100 points, somebody's going to say, well, Enos was fired. Sure didn't change anything. I know that's coming, but it will change things. And no matter what happens Saturday, they had to make that change, and it was a good change. As I said, he should have never been hired, but he was. I didn't like the hire when they made it. I mean, Miami got rid of him for a reason. Arkansas got rid of that whole, bunch for a reason when he was here the first time, and he should have never been hired, but he was. But Sam corrected the mistake, but I don't care what happened Saturday. That was the right move, and it definitely will change things eventually.
I'm excited to see what kind of playbook, Kenny is going to open up for KJ and say,
it'll be a smaller one, I can assure you. It'll be a smaller one. It's going to be a smaller one. It's going to include a lot of things. It's going to include the plays that they've had success with, not just KJ, but the offense, things they've had success with, and narrow that playbook down and not have a catalog out there, when nobody knows what they're doing. Including the offensive linemen, tight ends, receivers, running backs. But, it's going to be a smaller playbook, but I think you're going to see them really try to build on the things that they've had success with. Maybe not even so much just this year, but in the past year or two, things they've done has been successful, and feel like they can do them again, and I think you'll see some stuff like they used in the Liberty Bowl. So, then they didn't have Rocket there either. They had AJ and Rashad, and both of them had great games. And offensive line, Cody didn't forget how to coach just between the Liberty Bowl and this year. Enos has been the common denominator with all the issues, and now they can move forward, and this will be first part of moving forward. Will be Saturday. Wish the game was at home, but it's not. So but we'll see. I mean, they have played about as well on the road or better than they have the last two home games. So, that last game at home was the worst game they played all year. And then the BYU game, they didn't play great. So, I mean, the game that they played the best was the one in Little Rock, not because of the Little Rock.
Yeah.
It was the one they played the best. Maybe the weakest competition too. I don't know, but I mean they played pretty well that game. But they've got to run the ball better than they ran that day. But anyway, we'll see how it works. I just think, Jason, they've gotten rid of. I think you're going to see more enthusiasm on offense, and I think that's huge. You've seen it on defense. You know, those kids have been pumped to play for that staff, and I think now you'll see more of that on offense. Kenny's got a good he can relate to players really well, and he's a good guy. Kenny's a really good guy. He's helped me before on a deal or two, and just in general, and he's just a good guy, man.
That's what's really nice about bringing him in is he has some familiarity. He's seen what KJ sees, and he's able to look at things a certain way that KJ does that maybe some other coordinators may not, because Kenny has played on that highest level. One of the things also that I'm intrigued by going into this week, and you talked about a smaller playbook, is that they came out and Sam said it, KJ said it, hey, there's not going to be a lot of difference in what we're running, but they didn't say was how we're going to run it. And that's the one thing that they've left off this whole time. And I think that's why it kind of leads us to believe that it's going to be more up tempo. It's going to be the same thing. It may be the same 10 plays the whole damn game, but you know what? They're going to be ran a lot faster. And I think that's what's going to be, firing those guys out.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to use tempo Saturday. I mean, they're going to use it. And, I may put the defense on the field more. One thing that's a benefit of not having an up-tempo offense is the defense isn't on the field as much, but I feel like they've got the depth on that defense, especially now. Maybe they've gotten some people healthy this bye week. I mean, they seem to get quite a few back for the Mississippi State games and kids that didn't play against Bama, and now maybe they can get some more back. And if that defense is close to full strength, health-wise, I'm talking about, if they're close to that, then they've got the depth to play more up-tempo and not getting a bind there because of numbers. I know they were short on linebackers, but I think, you get Poopaw back, team, you've got Greer seems to be getting healthier. He was, so you got Spence. Yeah, Brad Spence, and then Jordan Crooks. So you've still got 5 linebackers that I feel comfortable with them playing. And then the secondary guys, Nudie should be back. I mean, Dwight McLaughlin should finally be back. I mean, he had that concussion, but he came back and played a little bit last week. But I think you'll see just more people. Braxton will be healthy. I think everybody not just be back, but be healthier, fresher too. I mean, they had 8 games on their legs, for that game. And Mississippi State had a bye. So
the Silver Sergeant says, I worry about the up tempo is not going to work with Enos's plays. Can they revert back to some of KB's style?
Well, I think it will. I mean, Guyton is a Browse man. I mean, they would definitely, I think, use some of that stuff. That's why I said earlier, if you caught it, not just what they've done this year, but some stuff from last year. That's why I was hitting at. I mean, you're going to see some stuff. It's not just going to be Enos plays. It's going to be stuff that they've done. And, but some of the Enos plays, if you run it in a different style, with tempo and stuff, I mean, you saw the fourth quarter at Alabama. Some of that stuff worked pretty well. It's just he'd get away from what was working well and try to go back to. Never did I see any insistence on him on adjusting his offense to fit the available talent. Instead, they had to fit his, and that went on all season. And no, I think you'll definitely see some of the plays from Browse. I mean, Kenny Guyton, like I said, came here because of Browse, and they were close and knew each other. And so Kenny, you're going to see stuff, and it's not going to be. I mean, most of these kids, the receivers some of them are new, but most of these kids have played in that other offense, and so it's not that many new players. You got Armstrong, TeSlaw, Broden, some of those guys, Braun. but I think they can make adjustments pretty good in 2 weeks, and it's not going to be complete. It's not like in 2 weeks you're asking them to learn a completely new scheme. I think you're asking them to take the plays that work well with Enos and sprinkle in some plays from the past that KJ and the offense has had success with, Jason. And I think that's what you'll see. It's not like they're throwing a whole new playbook out here and say, okay, in 2 weeks, we're going to run this new playbook. That's not going to happen. It's going to be sprinkling in stuff from the past. That's why I say it won't just be, don't expect it to be just stuff they've done this year. No, it definitely will be some KB stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, a KB playbook has got to be floating around somewhere up there on the hill. I mean, all you have to do is just look a little bit. I'm sure that somebody's got one somewhere and said, let's go ahead and let's fuse both of these together. Maybe take some of what Dan had on his and spread out the scheme, just the specifics of it a little bit, like in lining up where and when and what route to run. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think that's why they keep saying, it's going to be a lot of the same.
Yeah, it's going to be stuff that the stuff they've had success with this year that they feel comfortable with, and KJ feels comfortable. They're going to keep that, but it's going to be sprinkling in some new stuff. But yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it, man. If I'll be honest with you, if Enos was still here, it'd be like, just shoot me. I don't want to cover that game Saturday, but he's not. And so I know I'm being harsh with the guy, but I mean, I didn't like the hire when they made it. I feel like the whole season has gone downhill in large part because of him. I just was not a fan. I was not a fan of the hire when Sam made it. And I just hate that this is what we've ended up with this season. This is what in front of us and what's behind us.
So I do have to make one quick edit. Whenever I said that Arkansas won against Florida back in '82, it was not at the Swamp. It was in Houston, Texas, at a bowl game.
Oh, that was the Bluebonnet Bowl back then. Yeah, it was the Bluebonnet Bowl. I believe Brad Taylor was the Arkansas quarterback. I saw that game. It was. It was in the Bluebonnet Bowl down in Houston. I believe it was Bluebonnet Bowl, but it was Houston, Texas. Yeah.
And Arkansas did have a chance to beat Florida, if I'm not mistaken, either 06 or 08 against Tim Tebow, but a tripping call that negated a touchdown that would have put Arkansas up.
Yeah, that was Bobby Petrino's year. I mean, Bobby. Yeah, that was terrible, man. They robbed him on that call. I mean, it was a bad call. Yeah, Arkansas got hosed that game.
Yeah, that was in 2009. Where they lost 23-20.
Yeah, and Bobby Petrino's team. Yeah.
And that was when they were really starting to come into their own, because that next year is when they went to the Cotton Bowl and faced off against
they went to Sugar Bowl the next year.
Sugar Bowl the next year, and then Cotton after that.
Yeah.
They played
Cotton Bowl was Bobby's last game here. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's to be seen. We'll have to see kind of how everything kind of pans out. Really quick, Otis, I want Johnny Jones has asked a few different questions up here. He did ask one in particular. It was about your Lakers. He says, I don't think our Lakers will do so good this year.
Why do you think that? It'll be fine, man.
Yeah, I think they will. He said that also doesn't think that Patrick Beverly has been playing. Let's see. Hold on just a second here. Here it is. It says I can remember correctly. Beverly did not have the same attitude he does now when he was on the hill, right?
Yeah, well, Beverly's not with the Lakers anymore, but Beverly kind of turned me off when they did the introductions. And I didn't know this till he came to the Lakers. When they announced the kids and their school, he said from the city of Chicago. Didn't say he was from the University of Arkansas, and that kind of, I don't know, it didn't sit well with me. But that's just me.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, the kid put in a couple of good years here, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's a good player. He just Patrick's a different guy, I like Patrick, but I mean he's a different dude. But the Lakers got better when they traded all those guys, especially Westbrook and stuff. They're going to be fine this year.
They are. Another guy that I want to bring up really quick too, and I know this is a football show, but I think it's applicable, is I saw Victor Wembanyama play his first game with San Antonio, and that guy looks like a guy that was off of Space Jam.
Yeah, he's he's going to be a good player for them, or he is a good player. But yeah, he's definitely different. He's a big dude. I mean, he can play. So we'll see how it works out for him. I know everybody's saying he's the next LeBron. We'll see. I mean, LeBron's in year 21 and still playing elite basketball. I don't know if this kid will be in year 21. I'm not even sure that's human, man. To be in year 21
so either.
Still playing elite basketball. I don't know. That's a lot of mileage on them legs and stuff, and he's still playing elite basketball. I'm reluctant to say somebody's going to be the next LeBron when they're first year here. Let's give the kid a little time and see. I'm not saying he can't be, he may be, but I'm not ready to say that. He got 20 more years to work on some stuff.
They do. Steven 1883 has a quick question too. It says, I have a hard time believing that Coach Pittman's will make another buddy hire ever. This almost cost him his job and still might. I
don't know if that was a buddy hire as much as I think Sam knew Bryles was leaving and put too much emphasis on that 2015 season. And didn't do his research on, it may be a buddy hire. I'm not saying it's not. I don't think that's it, though. I think I think Sam got blinded by 2015 and kind of had his mind made up and didn't do his research on Enos like he should have. It might have been a buddy hire, but I don't think that was it. I tend to think it was more Sam just didn't do his homework on the hire. That's what I think. I think he had his mind made up. I know he says he did, but I think, like I said, the guy got fired from Miami after he left here. I just think Sam didn't. I think Sam had done the research he did with the defensive coordinator, with the offensive coordinator. I don't think he'd ever hired Enos, but I think he had his mind. I think Sam kind of had his mind made up. He was going to hire Enos when Bryles left, whenever that was. And it might be a buddy hire, but I tend to think more of just a mistake hire. I think he just put too much emphasis on the 15 season, didn't do his research on the rest of it. But whatever it was, it may still cost him his job. It may cost him his job yet. I mean, he's not out of the woods on that. I don't know how 3-9 season would sit. I know how it sit. I know that. I shouldn't say that. But I don't know how it would work with Juracek. That's tough, man. That's close. I don't think he's afraid of stepping on hands. He's worked with the offensive line in practice. He's worked with them. Mm-hmm. I think you'll see some difference in the offensive line. Just the fact that Enos is not calling plays. Look, man, Sam wanted about 8 dropbacks a game, and you're getting just one after another. It's tough when your offensive line's that young and stuff. Enos did the offensive line no favors. Let's hold off on the offensive line until we see how they function with Kenny as the offensive coordinator. I'm telling you, I don't think Cody Kennedy forgot how to coach from the Liberty Bowl to this season, and it looks like he has. And I don't believe that's the case. I don't think Sam's afraid of stepping on toe. I've seen him out there practice working with the offensive line. He'll do whatever it takes. Sam is not the pushover people think he is. When Barry Odom said, when he got in that room, he said, "You guys see the sweet Sam Pittman, the cuddly Sam Pittman." Said, "When we get in that room one-on-one with him, believe me, he comes down on my butt big time." He said, "He's not what y'all think. Is for Sam's not a pushover. So he's not afraid of stepping on toes. I can tell you that. He hired his buddy from Hutchinson Hutch Junior College, I believe it was, to coach linebackers, and guy promised him he could get a bunch of players, and didn't happen, and he fired him. Sam can be pretty ruthless with those assistant coaches. I don't think it's a matter of stepping on. I don't think he's a pushover. Oh, I know he's not the pushover a lot of y'all think he is.
Yeah, and we've seen that too on the practice field. Whenever we're able to get our few minutes of time that they allow it, media to get on there. But the one thing that I've always noticed is that he is not afraid to get in somebody's butt, hold them accountable, and tell them to do it again until you get it right.
Yeah, he gets after those assistant coaches. He gets after the players. Sam is, I mean, he's fair about it. He'll praise you when you do something right. But
Yeah.
believe me, he's not afraid of stepping on Cody Kennedy's toes. I think one thing, I think he knows Cody Kennedy no favors with the offense. I mean, he just wasn't. And there was promises made during the week to make changes. Some of it they even practiced, but when it got game time, it reverted right back to what Dan wanted to do and not what they talked about doing. And that's just the truth. And I think I'm just wanting to see Saturday before we judge everything too harshly. There's plenty to judge harshly. Look, I mean, at the best, absolute best, they'd be 6-6, and that's probably not happening. So I mean, I know it's a crappy season. I get all that, but I'm just saying, I mean, you can gripe about it and throw stuff and hit the wall, or you can say, let's see what the final 4 games bring. No matter what happens, 6-6 is not the season. I picked 8-4. I think you picked 10-2 on here. It's not going to be that. So it's not going to be the season anybody wanted. I'm not, but I'm not trying to act like it will be. But I'm just saying, I get, you're making. I'm not making excuses for anybody. I mean, it is what it is. They're 2-6, and the best they can be is 6-6, which no one wanted. But but I'm not ready. I mean, I'm not wanting to throw stuff off the wall and say, let's just go to basketball. It doesn't work that way. You got 4 more games to play. Why not make something positive happen in those 4 games? If nothing else, it could help recruiting.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it could help recruiting. They get to a bowl game, but even if they don't, say they go 5-7, but there's some positive things after these last 3 or 4 games, it could help recruiting, guys. I mean, so I mean, it's a waste. In some ways, it's a wasted season, but there's no point in not playing it out and trying to turn some things positive before it ends. I mean, that's how I look at it. If that offends somebody, or that's not how you want it to look, and no, I'm not afraid of losing no damned access or anything else over there. I mean, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about damn access or anything else. I'm just got opinions, and I tell you how it is, and I don't rant and rave about it. I mean, it is what it is. And as I said, I'm not trying to put a slant on the season. The best it could be is 6-6, and I don't even expect that. But it is what it is.
After you're looking at this mountain of mess that this whole entire staff has had this year, one of the things that I saw, I was looking at some stats, was that the Razorbacks have lost by a total of 36 points this year.
Yeah.
That's 6 points a loss. That is 1 touchdown, 1 possession that if they were able to capitalize on 1 deep red zone attempt each game, you're looking, and I'm not saying that it could have happened. I'm not saying that it should have happened. It didn't. It is what it is. They're 2-6, but they're not that far off either. That's the point I'm making, because
they haven't gotten blown out of any game. I mean, they and it'll be the closest thing, and I don't consider that a blowout. I mean, that's the biggest loss they've had, or the biggest deficit loss they've had. I don't think it's big. I thought Saturday was the biggest. The one in Mississippi State, 7-3, was the worst loss. But no,
it hurt right here more than anything.
But I mean, Arkansas had some things happen in that game. It could have been a closer game than it was. So, but even if you count that as a blowout, that's the one long game that they've got blown out. The rest of them, it was a 1-score game, 7 or 3 points, one way or the other. And they've led some of those teams like Ole Miss in the 4th quarter.
Ole Miss, BYU in the 3rd quarter.
LSU, they played really tough. Alabama, they played really tough. Once they kicked it into gear there, it looked like it was going to be a blowout. And Alabama at the end of the game was just holding on for dear mercy.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like I said, it's nobody wanted a 2-10 or 6-6 season, whatever it ends up, And whatever it ends up, nobody wanted that. But I mean, it is. You got 4 games to play. You might as well go out here and try to put make some positive things happen in those 4. As I said, if nothing else, it will help recruiting.
Yeah, and so I freelance for the Democrat Gazette on Friday nights, and Otis, I texted you a little bit on Friday, and got to see CJ Brown out, and this right here tells me the relationship that this staff has with the recruits already. Arkansas is 2-6. He's a star wide receiver for Bentonville. He's one of the top recruits that Sam's bringing in with this class coming in. And at wide receiver at that, I see this guy running around. He's got Razorback gloves on. He's got a Razorback skull cap. He's got a Razorback on his back plate. And this kid is, like you said before, whenever he signed and you stated that he is all Razorback. Yeah. He's still all Razorback.
Yeah.
That tells you the relationship that this staff has with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, Grayson Wilson was the same way today on the other show I do. And, I mean, these kids are, they get these kids. And that's what I said. I mean, that's why I say the last 4 games could make a big difference in recruiting people. I mean, no matter what happens on the field as far as wins and losses, it's going to be a disappointing season. Mm-hmm. But that's why I'm saying you got to try to find some positives in the last 4 games. If nothing else, it helps recruiting. And that's all I'm getting at. I'm not trying to put a positive spin on a 2-6 season. I'm not doing that. It is what it is. But the last 4 games have got to be played. 3 of them are at home, and you might as well try to make something positive happen in those 3 games, so you can, or those 4 games, so you can build on it into recruiting. And not only that, enter next season with some momentum instead of just being downtrodden, beaten down.
You might see some new faces, or some faces that you haven't seen yet this season over these last 4 games, because now you're entering that territory where these guys can play and it's still not affect their red shirt. Yeah. And I think that's where you'll start to see some faces that you might not have seen where they didn't really want to burn that red shirt, but they could make an impact still.
Oh, yeah. And I think you may see guys like Barquise Gums get more action, Ty Washington's really stepped up there. And I think, you see Ty Washington, Barquise. I mean, you've got some guys, that you always think of the running back, the freshman running back. Here's a kid that might get a few carries now that once they get past, I think he's played in 2 games maybe, or 1. I know he's played in 1, maybe 2. Should know that. I believe it.
I think 2.
Running back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2 games. Yeah. So he's played in 2, but so he's got 2 left to play. I think you may see him some. I mean, any of those kids like that, Jason. Yeah, those are kids that, like you said, that have not seen the field that much. I think of the linebacker, the big kid from Ole Miss, or from Oxford. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, the linebacker that signed with Arkansas from Oxford, not Ole Miss, but yeah, there's some kids that probably give a little bit more action as you go forward.
Yeah, I'm excited about the last 4 games just because there's some new, there could be some new wrinkles, and like KJ said, you said, I've said, this kind of gives them a little bit of renewed life. Well, they can just go out and play free now.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, and I think that's what you're going to see Saturday. You're going to see a different motivated team. Will it cause a different result? Who knows? I mean, Florida's a tough place to win, and especially if you catch them on a good day, on their good day. Man, I mean, they're
tough.
Yeah, they're tough when it's their day, and kind of like the Rams caught the Cowboys today. I mean, everything was clicking for Dallas, and I fully expect everything to be clicking for Florida Saturday. But if it's not, Arkansas could surprise them, because they're a weird team. Florida is. I mean, they'll have a game where you think, God, they could beat anybody, and then the next game or 2, they look like they never seen a football before. So, everybody writing them off after they lost to Utah and then they beat Tennessee. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's tough in the swamp. It's tough to go there and win. Now, they did take a big loss Saturday. They played while Arkansas rested. So, I mean, so, you got to look at anything. I mean, anything can be advantage, but I think the main thing is Arkansas needs to go down there and make positive things happen immediately. They can't get behind the big early on down there and expect anything good to happen in Gainesville. Got to go down there and take it to get Florida early on and play a 60-minute game. And if Arkansas does that, they've got a chance to be okay, I think. But they've got to do that. It's easier to say that than do it too.
It is. And what kind of reminds me of facing Florida this week after them facing Georgia let me rephrase that. Arkansas facing Florida this coming Saturday, playing Georgia last Saturday is kind of like when Arkansas would play Tennessee or LSU right after the Alabama game. Coming in, they're a little bit nicked up, they're a little bit beat up, they got the crap kicked out of them, and you're playing them at home. And the last thing they want to do is get up for an early 11 a.m. game that next Saturday. You might catch them off guard.
Yeah, and Florida's got a tendency to do that, to be caught off guard. I mean, Florida's a hot and cold team, and if they're cold, I mean, if they're hot, as we said, they can beat anybody. If they're or play really tough with most people. I don't know about beating anybody. I don't think it, but man, when they're cold, when they're off, they're not focused. I mean, they can look so bad. I mean, they can look so bad. And
look at what happened with them when they went to Kentucky a few weeks ago. They got whipped.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just that's just Florida, and it's not just this year. It was that way last year with them with Napier. This was like last year. I mean, they absolutely got destroyed in the bowl game. And yeah, they were missing some players, but so was Arkansas, and they went to Liberty Bowl and won. And Kansas wasn't missing very many players in that game. And I mean, they were only missing 2 or 3 players, I think, or 3 or 4, whereas Arkansas was missing a big list of players for the bowl game. But Florida was missing a bunch of players and went out to the Vegas Bowl and just completely laid an egg. That's why I say, I think if Arkansas took it to them early, Florida might have a tendency to roll over some. They've got capability to do that more than most teams in the SEC. I mean, most of these teams in the SEC have quite a bit of fight. I don't – Florida, if things are going well, they have fight. If it's not going well, they show a tendency to let go of the rope a little bit. And that's why I say it's going to be very important for Arkansas. And Arkansas doesn't need anything negative. They need to go get a positive start down there, whatever it is, whether it's obviously they need some good things to happen on offense down there. They need that because Arkansas has just been downtrodden on offense all season, and they need to make some positive things. But the defense has got to play well too. I mean, they can't let up. I mean, look, there's 3 aspects, and that's why I've not been so hard on Sam because there's 3 aspects to football, and 2 of them they've been pretty good in defense and special teams. It's been the offense that's just drug the crap out of them, man. It's drug everything down. And that's why I'm not too hard on – I mean, look, he hired Ito, so, I mean, he deserved blame for that. Yeah. But, and I think he made a rushed hire. It might be a buddy hire like our poster said. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it, whether you call it buddy hire or rushed hire. I mean, basically, he made a bad hire is what the amounts to. And Sam made it. Nobody put a gun on him, made him hire, So, so he deserves blame for that. But I'm just saying, overall, we'll see how this thing plays out. I mean, like I said, that's how I look at things. They've got 4 games left to play. Yeah. People can throw the towel in and raise hell all they want to, but my tendency is to look at the games. Let's take it one game at a time, see how it goes. And I've got to cover those 4 games. So I mean, that's the only way I know to do it. Just go out here and cover it, and report what I see, and hope it's better football than we've seen all year because it hasn't. It's not fun for us. Believe me, when we go to the press box, people, it's not fun for us to go up there and leave and have to write stories about another loss, another disappointing finish. Record setting 200 yards of offense. I mean, it's not fun. But so I mean, it'd be more fun for us to write some positive things too, believe me. And it makes this job a lot easier,
I'd be looking forward to writing something.
It's been mentally challenging to cover this football team. I'm not going to lie to you. Physically, obviously, this is not physical work. I've done physical work. I've rolled 30-foot timbers and everything, light poles and everything else for a living. But this is not physical labor. But mentally, this season's mentally been a challenge for me. It has. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just been. I mean, as I asked John, we left Dallas down there. We left Arlington that night. I said, is it asking too much to have a decent football season? I'm not even asking for a playoff team. I'm not asking for 12-0. Hell, I'm asking for 8-4 and 9-3, kind of like I forecast. Is it asking too much to have be 5-3 or 6-2 instead of 2-6? I mean, is it really asking too much? I mean, that's my point. And I'm like I said, I'm not asking for a Ohio State or Michigan or Georgia type record or Florida State. Yeah, obviously it'd be great, but just mentally, it's taking its toll, man. It's a hard team. This is a hard team to cover this year. It's just constant negative, and it's hard to. You understand the negative. You understand why people are negative. You understand it. But after a while, it just gets old seeing the same old stuff over and over and over. And then go watch the game and you think this can't get any worse. And in that last game, my God, I mean, you think it can't get any worse. And then they go out there and score 3 points against Mississippi State after hearing for a month about how glad they are. They've been on the road for 4 straight weeks and hearing all week how great it was to be back home. And then they go out there and have zero offense. I mean, it's just it's tough, people. It's mentally challenging. It's not been a fun season.
It's been challenging mentally also on the players too. It has to. They see it.
Challenging on the players, the coaches, the fans. It is for everybody, man. But I mean, I tend to see is like I said, all I know to do is I've got 4 games left to cover this season. If they go to a bowl, it'll be a field. I don't expect them to go to a bowl, but if they do, that's fine. And I'll be covering it, but it's challenging. It's just challenging. I'll leave it at that. It's just obviously it's challenging.
Well, only thing we can do is tune in 11 o'clock this Saturday. It's going to be at the Swamp. Have to see what the Razorbacks are able to do. See if they can kind of turn the season around with a little bit of renewed hope and some vibrance on the field. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, Otis.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to it because I mean it's exciting. I mean, if Enos was still here, it would be. I'd be dreading it. But no, I'm looking for. I'm a Kenny Guyton fan. I'm a big believer in Kenny Guyton. I want to see. I'm hoping he has success. I know you come in 9th game of the season. You're going to have. You haven't had spring ball. You haven't had preseason. So I mean, I get he's got his hands tied some. I mean, he's behind the 8 ball kind of, but I believe Kenny can rejuvenate some stuff. And I know KJ's got talent. People talking about KJ Jefferson. It makes me sick. I mean, KJ's got talent, and it's he needs to show it Saturday, and I think he will. And I think it's only going to get better from this point forward. Saturday on, and I think they're going to get more and more comfortable with what they're doing, and they're going to start using things that work. And we'll see. I just hope it's a good effort down there and they come out and somehow could get a win. And if they got a win Saturday in Florida, it would change the whole season, Jason. I mean,
it changes everybody's perspective.
Well, I mean, it changed the whole outlook for the final 3 games of the season, not the whole season. Yep. It would change the outlook for the whole 3 games left after that because they're all at home and they're all tough games. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to sit and say Florida International stuff, but Auburn and Missouri are obviously very tough teams. And, any SEC team is a tough team for this team. Vanderbilt would be tough. It just is. But we'll see what happens in the game. But right now, you got one staring you in the face, and that's Florida. And you need to go take care of business there and play and see what happens. Play your best, see what happens. See if your best is enough. It may not be, or it may be, but we'll see.
We'll see. Everybody, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Every time, whenever you do, you'll get a notification pop up on your phone that we're about to go live. You don't want to miss any of the shows, either with myself and Otis, or with Dudley, or with Marty at any time. We are always on Sundays at 3, Marty, and then Dudley at 4:30, and then Marty's going to be on Wednesday for the next few weeks with some scheduling stuff for him. But always be sure to check us out with me and Otis at 3 o'clock every Sunday, y'all. Yeah. And we're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, Otis, and I'm gonna get you out of here and go spend some time with the Bulldog. I'm sure the Bulldog's got some TLC this week, my man.
Yeah, he worked himself up pretty good yesterday, beating up dogs on TV. He worked them over, a bunch of them. He got the Georgia Bulldog and a bunch of the dogs, cats too. He got worked up yesterday. He was happy I was here, and he got pretty worked up during the day, beating up a bunch of animals.
Oh, man. Well, I want to thank Coy's Southern Eats, our sponsor, also as well. Make sure to go try their new Guincho blend that just came out on local select stores in Northwest Arkansas and Central Arkansas, and also on KoiSouthernEats.com, Amazon.com, and Walmart.com. And for Otis Kirk, myself, Jason Patterson, I want to thank you guys, and we'll see y'all next Sunday.
Thanks, man. Good show. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to KoiSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.